All right, friends, today's math lesson, we are going to add and subtract those mixed numbers in word problems, okay? So let's get started with this first one. Liam is choosing between two backpacks. The black one weighs 1 5/8 pounds, and the blue one weighs 2 1/8 pounds. Which one weighs more and how much more? Okay? So looking at the things that I circled and underlined, we need to think, okay, are we going to add or subtract for this one? We can kind of do it two ways, actually. So I've got the black one, which was 1 5/8 plus, we don't know yet, equals the 2 1/8, the blue one, okay? Because we need to know how much more does the blue one weigh than the black one. So we can think, okay, well, the black one plus something will equal that one. Or our subtraction problem, the 2 1/8 minus 1 5/8 equals, we don't know yet. Okay, so there's two ways that we can do it. I am going to do subtracting one, okay? I think that would be the easiest for us to work with. So let's just start with our bigger numbers. But wait a minute, now that I'm looking back, I notice that we've got a 1 over here and a 5. Okay, from yesterday's lesson, we know that if it's a smaller number, if you only have 1, you can't take away 5 from it, right? So this 2 is going to change, remember? I'm putting this 2 down to borrow from it, okay? So if we think how many eighths equals 1 whole, I'll write it on the side, 1 whole equals 8 eighths, right? Well, then another 1 whole equals the same amount, right? So then for 2 wholes, I can just add this all up, which would be 8 down below, and then 8 plus 8, which would be 16. Okay, so 2 wholes actually equals 16 eighths. Okay, now it looks a little weird because this number is bigger, but we know we have to do that so that we can subtract. Okay, so we knew that 1 whole just equals the 8 eighths. Another 1 whole equals the same amount. Add those up to make it the 2 wholes, 16 over 8. Okay, but we cannot forget about that 1/8 over there, so we are going to add it together to make 17 eighths. Man, that's a bigger fraction. Okay, so now it's a little bit hard though to subtract an improper fraction with a mixed number. So we actually have to change that other mixed number as well. Okay, so I'm going to draw a line over here. Same thing, we're working with eighths, that's easy. So 1 whole equals 8 eighths. And that's just it. They don't even have another whole. So we know that it's 8 eighths, but we can't forget about that 5 eighths, friends. So 8 eighths plus 5 eighths. So I'm keeping my same denominator, and then I can do 8 plus 5, which is 13. So 13 eighths. Now I can take this down a step. Now that I've got my 2 improper fractions, now I can finally subtract. So 17 eighths minus 13 eighths. Keep my denominator the same. And 17 minus 13. That would be 4. Okay, and if you remember from my video yesterday, we can even take this down to its simplest form. We can take it down even smaller. So we're thinking what number can be divided into both of those? Well, I know that 4 can go into 8, and it's timesing it by 2. So I'm going to divide both numbers by 4. 4 divided by 4 equals just 1, because 1 times 4 equals 4. And then, like I said earlier, 8 divided by 4 is 2. So your answer for this one would be 1/2. Okay? So taking a look really quick for this problem before we move on. Now I want you to get out your math journal. We're going to be doing a couple problems together before you go on your own. So you'll flip it to page 220. Bear with me here. Gotta have to scoot some things over. Okay, and we're going to start with number 1. There, we can see it there. Okay, so Shamila's full backpack weighs 10 1/4 pounds. Before leaving for school, she added a 1-subject notebook. Now her backpack weighs 11 pounds even. How much does the 1-subject notebook weigh? So we need to do a model number first. And we know that the how much more, those clue words tell us that we're going to subtract, okay? So I'm taking my bigger number first, 11 whole, minus the 10 1/4, because that's how much her backpack weighs. And then we're wanting to know how much the notebook weighs. So I'm going to write N for notebook. Okay? It total weighs after she put the notebook in was 11. Before she put the notebook in, it was 10 1/4. So that's why we're doing 11 minus 10 1/4 equals that notebook. Okay? So we have to figure out how much that notebook weighs. Okay? I don't really like how they don't really leave you enough space, so the how do you know, I'm going to be showing my work there. Okay? So we know that, well, there's no fraction over here. So we have to add some fractions so that we can actually subtract from it. Okay? So really though, we just need it bigger than the 1 so we can subtract. So I'm only going to borrow just 1 whole from it. Okay? So if I borrow from just 1 whole, and we're working with fourths, we know that 1 whole is actually 4/4. Okay? And I just took 1 from the 11, so that makes it a 10. See where I'm going with that? If I borrow a 1 whole from the 11, it's like I'm subtracting it. So I change this 11 to a 10, and now I can put my 4/4 right next to it. Okay? And then I can subtract the 10 1/4. Okay, well 10 minus 10 is 0. I don't have to put anything there. And then we keep our same denominator, which we're working with fourths. 4 minus 1 is 3. Okay, that's our answer. 3/4 pound that notebook weighed. Okay, this one right here, does the 1-subject notebook weigh more or less than 8 ounces? More or less than 8 ounces. If we remember, we might have to kind of flip back through our notebook, or you can even Google how many ounces are in 1 pound. 1 pound equals 16 ounces. So if that's only 8 ounces and we have 3/4 of a pound, the notebook is going to weigh more. Okay? If you get stuck on the ounces part here, again, make sure you're flipping back through your notebook and even Googling some of those conversions. But if you're still super stuck on it, don't worry too much. I want to make sure that we're doing our fractions work, okay? So that is for number 1. You have the answer right there. Now I'm going to jump to number 5. Okay, are you with me there? Let me see if I can see it all. good enough. So number 5 says, a red, a green, and a pink backpack are hanging on hooks in the classroom. The total weight, the total weight of the 3 backpacks is 32 pounds. Okay, we're not gonna go higher than 32, that's the total amount. The red one weighs 9 3/4 pounds. The green one weighs 1 3/4 pounds. More than the red one. Okay, so that doesn't tell me the total of the green one, that's just saying that it's more than the red one. So then how much does the pink one weigh? Okay, there's a couple different steps that we have to do for this one. First, let's write our number models with our unknown. Okay, so our first step could be we take the total 32 and then just minus the one that we actually know. 9 3/4. And we're just going to give it a random letter B. Okay, so that'll kind of tell me how much is left over for me to use to find out the green and the pink one. But then I know that, okay, the red one is 9 3/4, but the green one weighs 1 3/4 more. Okay, so the green one is gonna be bigger than this one, so that's why we have to plus it. I'm gonna write green. Okay, so once we figure this out first, then we can write our problem to find out the pink one. So let's go ahead and get started for this one first. So again, just like number 1, all I need is to borrow 1 whole from this number to make it greater than the 3 so I can subtract. So I'm just taking away 1 whole, and I know we're still working with fourths, which is nice. 4/4. Okay, so if I take away 1 whole from the 32, I am making it now into 31 and then 4/4. Okay, now I can minus the 9 3/4. Okay, so 31 minus 9 be 22 wholes. 4/4 minus 3/4 is just 1/4. Okay, I'm going to change to a different color so we're not getting confused. So we still have the 22 1/4 right there. Okay, I'm going to actually write it over here because that'll help us find the pink one. Now I have to find out this one. So 9 3/4 plus the 1 3/4. Okay, that one's easy because it's just plus. So 9 plus 1 is 10. 3 plus 3 is 6/4. Wait a minute, that went over, right? That went over, so we have to change it. We have to bring one more whole number over. So again, we know that 4/4 equals that 1 whole, so if we're just taking another whole to add to the 10, that's going to make it 11. Okay? And now we just have the 6/4 minus the 4/4, okay? Because we're taking 1 whole away from it. We're taking 4/4 away from the 6/4. Okay, so 6/4 minus 4/4, that would be that 2/4. And we know we can make this smaller, but for right now, we want the same denominators, okay? So now, that's going to help us find how much that pink one is. Equals P for pink. Whew, almost done, guys. We're doing great. So now I just got to do 22 1/4 minus 11 2/4. Okay, we're minusing, and I see that I need to borrow. So again, we just need to borrow that 1 whole. You know that equals that. So if I'm borrowing 1 from the 22, that's going to make it 21. And then I can't forget to add this 1/4 to the 4/4. Okay, because this is like I'm saying 21 and 4/4, but I can't forget about this fraction attached too. So the 4/4 plus the 1/4, which would be 5/4. Now I can subtract the 11 and 2/4. Almost done. I'm gonna move it a little bit so you can see. 21 minus 11 is 10. 5/4 minus 2/4, which would be 3/4. Woo! That is finally our answer. 10 and 3/4 pounds is for pink. That's how much the pink one weighs. And it says the color backpack weighs 12 ounces more than the other color backpack. Yeah, these ones are tricky, guys. So if we look back, it would actually be, as I'm looking in my notebook, green. So remember, this was a green answer. That weighs more than the pink one, okay? Again, if these are tricking you, don't worry too much about it. I want to see that you are adding and subtracting these mixed numbers correctly. So a lot of it, I think, letter C, if you don't put anything down, I am totally okay with it. But I need to see letter A and B in your work, okay? I need to see your work shown just like this. All right, for your activity today, you need to finish these 2 pages. So 2, 3, 4, and even 6 too, okay? You've got 1 and 5 right there. You can rewatch this video, or you can message me and we can video chat to work this out together, friends, okay? Talk to you soon. Bye.